LPK.
You son of a bitch.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another Chillporeal. And with me, before I introduce guests, let me introduce myself. I'm your host, Brian, the Nerdporeal Lifeform himself, master of the continuum. And with me, we have a WHITECLOAK himself. We have LPK. What's up? Thanks for joining me. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's my pleasure, Brian. So it's always great to be on your show. Your shows are wonderful. Your audience is wonderful. Your community is wonderful. And I'm just happy to sort of, do what I can, sort of, bring my own, self into it. So thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that. I try to be good enough for the audience and for the viewer, and most importantly for the guest. So LPK, what does LPK stand for?
It's spelled out as a very kind of a smart ass Reddit name originally. This dates back to before the show started. We had this little. There was a dream called Camelot back on Reddit. It was called the WHITECLOAKs. It was quite a special place for a while, but it eventually got, of course, quite unceremoniously shut down by a lot of drama and unnecessary Reddit like intrigue, But mine was like, I got the idea that like there was rumors that he was going to kill his wife, murder his wife. He had a wife and he was going to murder his wife. So I was like, oh, okay. Luz Perrin Kinslayer from the books, of course. That's a good Reddit name. And I sort of jumped on that and started to shitpost like my little happy brains out there on Reddit. And it was quite open and notorious shitposting, as it was sort of the norm back then on the Reddit site. Sort of like I pumped the brakes a bit on it, but for a time there, I was I was pretty much like there's people that would probably put a hit out on me if they knew it was me. It was me all the time.
I had no idea it was leaked. So it was leaked that Perrin was going to do the deed and all that.
Apparently, I guess the script got leaked or something like that, and he was going to just he had a wife and she was going to be murdered by him on Winter's Night. Which in my mind was extremely outrageous, and so I sort of made the most outrageous Reddit name I could think of for it.
What did they ever? I never really researched it, but why did they do that? Like, did they just want to add more weight to the winter night? Because I swear, I mean, there was a good whole chapter of a lot of emotional weight that they didn't use.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you read the books, the books are excellent. There's a lot that happens on Winter Night that could have been made into a fantastic scene, a dozen fantastic scenes that they could have elaborated upon, visual media. However, with sort of who we had making the show and who we had writing the show, they chose the path of, melodrama. And what is more melodramatic than murdering your wife accidentally?
They're trying to be Game of Thrones, basically. Hey, let's kill someone off. Let's create someone just to kill them off.
I mean, Game of Thrones. I mean, there's melodrama in that show, but it's done very well.
Yes.
I mean, it's done the way you're supposed to do it. It's like, you do it. This is the most entertaining thing we could possibly come up with for this story, and we're gonna give it to you. But sure, let's have Perrin kill his wife. That's a great way to set the character up. Whatever.
And then they destroyed. That was the thing. And then, of course, it's poorly shot, that first episode. And then Moraine destroys the wine spring inn. And like that, I'm reacting like, I think there's a video. I don't know if it's Prophet's channel or Salty's channel or maybe even WHITECLOAK's, but first episode, I'm like, they destroyed the wine spring inn. Like,
We didn't stand and clap hard enough when she came in with Lan being her little baggage handler.
Yeah, there's so much.
That place. Like, fuck, you're in. Sorry.
But yeah, so I got a question for you. Oh, before we even do that, I want to say hello to the chat that we got here. So we have a trip. We have a trip, sandwiches and chicken wraps. Well, I'm going to tell you, Trip. I was on trip. I went to El Paso last weekend. Visited another content creator. His name's Dread Roberts. Awesome guy, and he made the best chicken sandwich I've ever had. Best. It was grilled chicken, delicious. So just saying. I'll eventually share pictures of it. But yeah, we got David Glenn. What's up, David? How you doing? And we got, who the heck is? I see a blank. I see a blank name and a blank thing. I don't know who this person is. I don't think he exists.
Maybe he talks about Wheel of Time every now and then.
Oh, Prophet. Okay, I see it now. Prophet. Okay. Oh no, he does exist. So what's up, man? Good. Thanks for being here. We got Salty Traveling Sea, being a grammar Yahtzee and all that. And then we got, I think that's it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. So, how long have you been, how long you been part of the Reddit communities? How'd you get mixed up with the White Cloaks? Was it just basically what you just said? Basically, you finding out about.
Oh, that's a really good question. Thank you. You're diving deep. Before the White Cloak subreddit even came to existence, I was really sort of reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson novels. I was really getting into it. I sort of like stopped reading Brandon, like, you know, he's sort of like the whole the Rhythm of War book kind of like sort of like I thought it was really kind of not my cup of tea, which is kind of unfortunate because I really enjoyed like the first two books of the Stormlight Archive quite a bit, you know. And a lot of his other books as well. But I was on, what's the name of it? What's the shit posting Reddit for? It was like, wherever you go for the memes for the Brandon Sanderson books. I was making a lot of like, you know, sort of very kind of Narg-esque memes there. And then all of a sudden, like the show started getting steam and I was like the Wheel of Time show's coming out. I hope it's great. I can't wait to watch it. And then it's like, oh, it's going to be a huge fucking shit show. And it's going to like, you know, be a slap in the face to everybody's already. I mean, I could just, you know, the people who knew it was going to be bad knew it was going to be bad immediately. And sort of immediately we like a lodestone, you know, to True North. Yeah, to True North, we assembled, you know, to the White Cloak subreddit. It was really quite an organic and beautiful thing. And it sort of has like, you know, continued on to where it is today. You know, we still have a handful of true believers. I was never part of the YouTube channel until recent, like, you know, until I started supporting it sort of as a sort of a watcher and an enjoyer. But that the YouTube channel has sort of like, you know, become sort of the name de facto. They are the White Cloaks essentially these days, you know. However, I still have my roots deep into the subreddit days, and that's enough for anybody, really.
Okay. Yeah, I was never part of. I mean, myself, I was never part of the subreddit. I know Prophet was. I know the rest of the White Cloaks were. Me, I just met friends through friends through friends through friends through friends, and that's kind of how I got mixed up with you guys. Now you guys are all forever associated with me now, so
it's okay. But there's like just basically like just a sort of like in your soul, it was like a hell no, oh hell no, sort of like vibe from the show. And we all felt it. We all came together. It was like, you know, we have to drag it through the mud as hard as we can, and we did.
Yeah, I remember seeing the announcement. I remember seeing like the cast announcement, and and this was, I think this was the whole, you know, just, you know, the whole swapping of race and stuff has just been a thing going on for a while. I think this was, what was this, 20, I think they announced in 2020, 2019, 2020. I forget when exactly. And I read The Eye of the World before I started the channel. I was reading. So, I started getting into I haven't really been I'm not as big of a reader as like, you know, the rest of the White Cloaks are. But my buddy started getting me to read Stephen King. So I started reading some Stephen King, read the Dark Tower books, and the Long Walk, I think, was what really got me into reading. And then I looked into,
was that in his pen name?
yeah, Richard Bachman. Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
So the Long Walk was like the prototype for all the, you know, we're going to play a game, and then the game, if you lose, you die, basically. So the Long Walk was, you have to walk, you're basically walking, you have to walk 4 miles, you have to walk at least 4 miles per hour. If you slow down, the guards that are escorting the contestants will shoot you dead. And these are like teenagers. These are not adults. These are teenagers. And this is a game. And the person that wins this game gets whatever they want. Like they're set for life. But the thing is, everybody else dies. The thing is, everybody else gets sacrificed. In other words, so
small price to pay.
So yes, I read that. It's a really good thriller. So because when I was in college, a few of my friends got me to watch the Japanese movie Battle Royale, which was what introduced me to that genre, or that type of genre of thriller. So that's how I got. That's how I got on the Long Walk, and then I don't know. Then my 1 year, my dad got really sick, and it was last year of his life, actually. So I was getting upset, and I was actually, there was a point where I was in between jobs, so I was looking for things to watch, shows to watch. So I mean, I watched Breaking Bad for the first time. I watched Lost, watched a whole bunch of things, and then I think another group of friends talked about Game of Thrones. Now, Game of Thrones was already big, but I did not initially get into it. I saw like an episode, and they showed a scene that was a little weird, and the word that rhymes with day. And I was just like, I don't think this is for me. This is HBO crap again, schlock or whatever. And I turned it off. But then a couple years later, I looked into the series. I didn't realize it was a book series. And I read into it, and there was just a lot of detail. There was a lot of like factions, and there was a lot of things going on. And I just got interested into it. I just got interested in it. And then I got the books. I read like the first 3 or 4 chapters of Game of Thrones. And I was like, dude, this is great. This is good stuff. I want to keep reading this. And I eventually, I was like, I wanted to see the show too. So as I was reading the books, I was watching the first season of the show. And then after that, I bought the rest of the books, and I really got into fantasy again. So I did read Lord of the Rings years ago when I was a kid, but I think getting back into fantasy, I started reading Song of Ice and Fire, and it was a blast. Even the more boring books I really enjoyed. So after I read those, and George, even to this day, and it's going to be a decade now, still hasn't released his 6th book yet.
It's okay.
And yeah, and he's 70. He is going to be 76 in September, I think. And he still has to write book 7, and he's got to write a whole bunch of short stories that are focused on Dunk and Egg. And then he still has to write the second part of the Fire and Blood, history book. That is his G.R.R. Marillion that he has to do. So,
does he really need to make those Dunk and Egg stories? They're great, but you could also not and focus on Song of Ice and Fire. I'm right with you exactly on that exact trajectory of getting into Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire books. I really started reading it like maybe like almost like it was probably like maybe like a week, or it was either a week before or a week after the show came out. I was like, oh, on HBO. Okay, so this is not like a minor thing. This is a big thing, because it was like HBO at that point was batting 1,000 basically on their TV show productions. And I was like, okay, I want to watch this, and I want to know about this. So I picked up the book and I read it, and I probably read through those novels like 4 times, at least at this point. Although it's been a long time, man. It's been like 10 freaking years since I probably picked them up. but man, did I enjoy them. And the show was great, except for like maybe like I mean the last episode I really couldn't stand.
Of the finale of the season 8
of season 8. Like the one thing that really, really hurt me, like emotionally, to watch was Sam Tarley, like bring out the book. Oh, look, it's called A Song of Ice and Fire, and he opens it up, and it's like literally like the cover art of the fucking book.
Yeah,
and it's like, and I was watching this, and I was just like, I literally like made a physical, like I like physically died inside a little bit. Like this is like I was just like, like watching that happen,
oh,
and it
that
was just like,
season.
I mean, and then like I haven't read the book since. I really am actually now at this point in my life I'm over it, and I'm ready to read them again.
Yeah,
I really want to read them again actually, but like because like there's so much cool stuff that happens, like so many cool characters, like Strong Belwas or what is it like?
yeah, the Strong Bellis, he poops he poops in front of that I forgot the name of the jouster from Marine who comes out of the walls and yeah,
like whatever.
Yeah, in the show it was Dario Naharis that actually dispatches him, but in the book it was Strong Belwas. So Strong Belwas is this big brown-skinned eunuch. He's like really muscular, and he's just one of Daenerys's. He shows up when Sir Barristan shows up, in only in the books. He's not in the show at all. But yeah, he literally pooped in the book. He literally poops in the direction of that jouster dude, and I dropped my pen. And the rest of it's history. So I mean, yeah, it's a great. I'll be honest. I'm still books over show, because I think the show. I mean, even the Red Wedding, like George says, "Oh, Dan and Dave made the Red Wedding worse." Yeah, I feel it was cheap. I feel it was cheap to have them stab a pregnant woman, because that wasn't in the book.
Melodrama, it's television. It's common. You get that.
I did react that way. I won't lie, and like that they I'll say this. They were, when I first saw it, and this was before I actually saw that before I got that far in Storm of Swords. I'm just like, I just like, after that episode, I was, and then you get the silent credits, because bad stuff happens, it's tragedy. Usually you get moment of silence or silent credits and all that, to make you kind of make it think about it. It's very, one thing about silent credits is I always find it unsettling.
Yeah.
Especially when they show you something unsettling, then they just have the credits be silent. It's just same thing with the end of The Sopranos. And I know some people don't agree on what happens, because it's it's up to interpretation. But based on, I don't know if you've seen The Sopranos. Have you seen?
I've watched half of it.
Okay. Do you know how it ends?
It's like it's ambiguous about Tony's death.
Yeah, so it cuts off. It cuts to black, and you hear the audio, and then the audio kind of dies. And the scene itself wasn't finished, because the daughter was in the process of walking into the restaurant. He looks up, and then it cuts to black, and then you hear a little bit of the Don't Stop Believing, and then like that. And I mean, based on just that alone, his life was the reason why the ending was cut short like that is because his life was cut short like that. And like, it's from his point of view, and it's a great way of showing a death without showing a death.
Yeah, agreed.
So I know not everybody agrees with this, because I mean, it's a more atheistic way. Like, when you die, that's it. There's nothing beyond that. So if you believe in a everlasting soul and an afterlife, you might not feel that way, which is fine. I mean, yes. So, but in the context of that show, he's dead. He did.
We'll live on forever in social media.
Yeah, it was a shame, because I watched it after James Gandolfini's passing, because I know he passed in 2013.
Yes.
So yeah, it was it was kind of, it almost felt like it it kind of felt like, because he actually passed away, that was the end. That was the true end. Like they can never really bring it back.
Yeah, go on. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Even if David Chase somehow decided to, say, oh, because David Chase, the creator, the showrunner, kept saying, like, everybody kept asking if Tony was dead, and he's like, no, Tony's not dead. But then before that, right after the finale aired, he said, whatever you want to know, it was built. Everything. If you watch the show, pay attention, it's all there. And what was all there? Well, there's a couple of scenes. There's a scene where you don't really see it coming, but poor Silvio, without like just he just before he knows this, what the person next to him got shot in the head, and it's just like that, and he's like, "What's going on?" And that happened really quickly. And then of course there's another scene with, I forget that one dude. I don't know if his name is Vito. No, not Vito. Vito's the gay one. The one that his sister married, the dude that his sister married. I forget his name. But he asked Tony when they were on like vacation, or they're kind of like they're at a cabin or something. He's like, if you get shot in the head, do you see it coming? Do you hear it coming? And that was the question that he asked. So,
good question. Did it, like, Tony's sister shoot him in the head? I think she did. God, I love that show.
I never thought of that. I always thought it was the guy with the jacket that came in.
Yeah, the guy with
the members only jacket. He comes in. He sits at the counter. He looks at Tony. Tony doesn't recognize him. We the audience have never seen him before, but we've seen someone wearing that jacket before. And then he goes into the corridor that leads to the bathroom, and the corridor is perfectly aligned with Tony's head. So, and they bring up, and the other thing is they bring up The Godfather quite a bit in that show. I mean, come on, The Godfather is a classic. So what happens in The Godfather? Well, Al Pacino, when he's hanging out with Captain McCluskey and Saluzzo, the Turk, he's like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" Now they took him, they brought him to the restaurant. They made sure he wasn't packed with a gun, and he goes to the bathroom because his family found out where the meat was, and they planted the gun behind the toilet with the chain. So he comes out blasted. So I'm guessing, and people might disagree with this, the members only guy went into the bathroom. Now maybe he was already packed, maybe he wasn't, maybe someone planted a gun there and he came out blasted, or he came out blasted from the corridor and it hits Tony in the head. Just as Meadow is walking into the restaurant.
It's sad that James Gandolfini passed away.
It is.
He was it's not every day you have an actor that can hit a home run every time.
Yeah, I mean, he was great in that, and I've seen him. He was in, I think he was in The Last Castle or something. That's a one with, I think he plays the warden, Robert Redford. It's a Robert Redford movie that came out.
Yeah, that's right. God, that was a good one. Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
It's been a while since I watched that one.
Where he's like the army general that like gets like somehow gets like sentenced to hard time. He gets sent to hard labor.
Yeah, and I forget there was
basically takes command of the prison.
Yeah.
What a dude!
Like, I don't know what else he was in. Like, he was in a movie where he plays Leon Panetta, the defense secretary under, I think it was Obama or something. I don't know if it was a Zero Dark 30 or something. I'm trying to remember.
He was in True Lies, one of his first like speaking parts in the mid '90s. He was one of the guys that was going to kill. He was going to kill the girl, the leading lady.
Oh,
it was James Gandolfini. Have you seen True Lies?
I have, long time ago. It's been a long time. I just remember. Only thing I remember is Jamie Lee Curtis. Because
Oh no, not True Lies. True Romance. God, I got my title.
Oh, I haven't seen True Romance. I haven't seen that one. My
42-year-old brain got the wires crossed, bro.
That's.
I had a senior moment.
I gotta write that down now. So
True Romance.
I added that to my list. No, I haven't. Not yet.
True Romance, not True Lies. This is an entirely different genre of a movie. both kind of violent, but in a very cooler way. True Romance was written by Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, yeah.
It was his writing gig. He was like starting to really break into Hollywood at this point. He hadn't directed anything yet, but he was about to do Reservoir Dogs right when this movie was being released. He absolutely murders this movie with his writing. It's such a good movie.
Okay,
but, James Gandolfini is in it. And he has some great quotes. Like he doesn't speak a lot, but when he's like, you really sort of like, oh man, that's some unfortunate, sinister dialogue. Oof. But, it's Christian Slater as the star. There is, very famous British actor. He played, I can't even remember his name, but you know him. He played Commissioner Gordon in the Christian Bale Batmans.
Oh, Michael Caine.
No, not Michael Caine. It was he was Zorg in. I remember his name in a minute here. Hold on.
Wait. Gary Oldman?
Yes.
Oh,
Gary Oldman plays.
I had a brain fart. Sorry, Michael Caine played Alfred. Duh.
Gary Oldman plays a pimp, like beyond what a pimp should be played as. He nails it. Every pimp in the world. I mean, I don't know if pimping ain't easy, but it is necessary. And Gary Oldman plays it perfectly. And if you ever need to do that for a living, you got to sort of watch that movie to sort of take your cues on how to be one. Gary Oldman does it.
And this is in True Romance.
True Romance. Gary Oldman.
All right. I'll have to do that because I'll be honest. When I think of a pimp, the first movie I've ever seen a pimp, I didn't even know what a pimp was. I was a kid. I saw Magnum. You ever seen Magnum Force, the second Dirty Harry movie?
I think I have seen a couple. Was that the one where he had sort of the automatic, like 44 Magnum? I can't remember exactly.
That I don't remember. I don't know. The Magnum Force was the second one. So the second one was with. So in the first one, he was the vigilante. Everybody was wondering, is he the bad guy and all that? Is he the Roger Ebert literally called him a fascist in his review back in the day. But Magnum Force was their way of kind of bringing the other side to it, and him taking on a whole group of young vigilantes within the police department. So he actually does. There's bombs involved. There's a high body count on that one because the cops go after every major criminal in the city, like pimps, corrupt politicians, other cops who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. So yeah, so the pimp in that one was played by the dude that was the bank robber in the first Dirty Harry. So Dirty Harry does his little, did I fire 6 shots or only 5? And then he's like, dude, this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. And he's like, do I feel lucky? And he's like, well, do you, punk? And then the guy's like, hey, I gots to know, man. And then that same actor plays a pimp. So he plays different characters in each Dirty Harry movie. Well, in the first 4, there were 5 altogether. He was in the first 4. Albert Popwell is the actor's name. Great guy, great actor. But he plays the pimp, and he's just like, the first time I've ever seen it, like, it was actually, for me, I think I was 11 or 12. It was a scary scene because there's this hooker. And I didn't even know what a hooker was. It was in this cab. And then all of a sudden, like, she's kind of messing with the cabbie, teasing him, woo, and all that. And then he stops. And all of a sudden, Albert Popwell, the pimp, comes into the car and just straight up murders her. The cabbie flees, gets out of there because he doesn't want to get involved. And the pimp, he doesn't even have a name. He's just called the pimp. He murders her by forcing drain cleaner down her throat.
Damn.
Yeah. And then the next scene, he gets offed by the police, by the bad cops led by David Soul, from Starsky and Hutch. Damn. So yeah, David Soul was the lead, vigilante cop. Well, he wasn't the leader of the group. That was actually Hal Holbrook, Lieutenant Briggs, to spoilers. But yeah, David Soul was the main of the cops, was the main cop. So you see cops with sunglasses, aviators, and a helmet and on a motorcycle. Better run for your life, because they're packed and they're going to kill. If you even spin on the sidewalk, you have any little citation, they'll shoot you dead. So, but that's what I think of it when I think of a pimp. Is that. So when I see True Romance, that might change it.
Give yourself a couple hours to watch that movie. It is excellent. It is one of my favorite movies ever made. All
right. You know what? True Romance right now takes precedent, because I love Tarantino. Like I love Pulp Fiction. I don't know if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love that movie too.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to. I mean, it's just time. But
yeah, it's if you did you enjoy Inglourious Bastards?
Of course.
Okay, so it does what Inglourious Bastards did. So
it's like the same thing, only with like the Manson family.
Yeah. So history is altered in Tarantino's reality. So let's just say the Manson family, instead of going to Sharon Tate's house, they go to Brad Pitt's house.
Bad choice. Brad Pitt's a superstar. You can't fuck. He runs that town. Mm-hmm. He glides through an effortless, like, Hollywood existence.
Yeah. By the way, I need to say hello to some people. So we got Gadfly Fiction here.
Hey, Gadfly.
Killing off what's her name in the show also eliminates the entirety of the Jane Westerling plot that has not yet happened in the books.
That's true.
That is true. So yeah, so the girl in Game of Thrones was Talisa from I think she was from Volantis, one of the free cities.
It was mostly these hired her for her butt cheeks.
Yeah. And what's funny is the actress is actually like the great granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin, believe it or not. So Una Chaplin was the actress's name, and yes, great cheeks for sure. But yeah, that whole thing, the whole thing with Jane Westerling. So Jane Westerling in the books was not pregnant. She's actually alive. She was taken prisoner. Well, actually, no, she was never prisoner. She wasn't there. She was in the crag where she's there. Her family, the Westerlings, are part of the Lannister. They're under the Lannisters in the Westerlands. And if I remember correctly, like her and King Rob did do the deed, but her mother kind of spiked her drink to keep her from getting pregnant and all that. So her family is they're evil. they're evil. But last we see them, her and I think her and Edmure Tully, the younger brother of Lady Stark, I think they're being escorted to Casterly Rock to be prisoners, and so they were being escorted as we go into book 6. And I heard, I don't know if this was from Brendan B. Fish's website or something. I don't even know where this originated, but the prologue is supposed to be about Jane Westerling is supposed to be in the prologue. So which means I'm guessing the point of view is the guy that's leading the march, or the march to Casterly Rock. And I'm assuming what's going to happen, this is just me, I'm assuming that they're going to be attacked either by the Brotherhood without banners, or maybe somehow the Blackfish, who did escape. He didn't die at River Run. He did fall in the river with armor on, so who knows, maybe he drowned. I don't know, but I think that would be anticlimactic because he washed away in the river. But maybe he brought back a force. Maybe he had a force or something, and then they kill everybody and they rescue Jane Westerling. And that I'm assuming that leader of the march is going to get killed, obviously. So because everyone, if you're a prologue point of view, you're going to die.
Prologue's not good in Game of Thrones. What about Lady Stoneheart? She's out there too. Her proximity to Jane is close. I mean, and she's not good with what the events that sort of went down there.
It's going to be interesting because last we saw her, she was in the process of hanging Brienne of Tarth and poor little Podrick, 12-year-old Podrick, not man-child Podrick, Payne.
Not big dick Podrick.
Yeah, not big. That's right. I forgot about that. I forget I think it was season 2. It was season 2. They send him to get laid, or season 3, send him to get laid.
And the whores paid him.
And they refused to accept his payment. And then Tyrion and Bronn are like, what the hell happened? They're like, you gotta tell us, because they've always taken our money and all that. So
that was one of the more humorous changes they made. I like Podrick in the show quite a bit.
So, but yeah, I'm curious where that's going to go, because last we saw Jaime Lannister was leading, or Brienne Tarth shows up in Jaime's last chapter in Dance with Dragons, and she's like, "Oh, come on, you have to come with me. If you don't, they're going to kill Sansa. The Hound's going to kill Sansa." So the Hound has been kind of like even though the Hound's has been missing since book 3. The Hound has been used as to kind of lure people. Like the Hound is like this bad guy that's like that people are making up just to lure Jaime away. So,
Right.
You think Brian's streams are actually what he titles them? Well, we're talking about fantasy, right? Trip. What's up, Articus? By the way, what's up, Articus? So
you want a fitness stream?
I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. All right, let's.
Like that. Look good. You gotta get to here though.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. So
that's good though. That's where you gotta get. I mean, don't sell yourself short. That's excellent. How long have you been working arms?
Ever probably just for the last month, and I didn't even do anything the last week. So last thing I did was arms.
God forbid you take a break, man. I've been taking a break this week too.
Yeah, it's because the thing. Okay, so the thing about that. So we're kind of so Song of Ice and Fire is great. We'll probably talk more about it. I do want to reread the books eventually, and LPK. You're gonna hopefully you join me. We'll have a nice little discussion about that.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
So
you got my George R.R. Martin sprung up.
Yeah, I forget how George R.R. Martin lasts. Like, I'm
ready to be heard.
Cringe.
If only I could read a few novels about incest. I've just been dying for it.
I'll say this one last thing. I loved how Ned Stark. Eddard Stark finds out, he finds out the truth because he reads the book of the Baratheons, and when they give birth and all that, they have the same they have the same features: blue eyes, black of hair, blue of eyes, and then you see Cersei with Robert, and her kids are blonde of hair, green of eyes. So you could tell that it's not. She's just like humping every dude's leg that she can get a hold of. Yeah. And then, of course, the whole thing with Bran being pushed out of the tower because he witnesses them, doing the deed and all that. So that was so cool. Yeah, that's crazy. He who passes the sentence must swing the sword. So that was cool. That the prologue, and I think one thing about season 1, they did not do the prologue justice. Like there was an actual duel between Sir Waymar and the others, the White Walkers. There's some clashing of swords, and then of course because of the ice swords somehow can the sword shatters from the cold of the White Walker's blade. Oh my god, that is a cool prologue. And then they kill him. And of course Will is the point of view character. Will is the young man. He's in the tree, and then there's the other guy, Garrett, who is far away, much farther away. In the show, they kill Garrett and Will gets away. But in the book, Will comes down from the tree and Sir Waymar comes back as a white and kills him. And that's how the first prologue ends. I'm just I'm reading this. I'm like, bro, this is, I wasn't expecting a chapter like this. I was expecting to be completely, political, completely political. I wasn't expecting this type of, fantasy. in there. So that's what got me. That's what got me going. So
the little fantasy and magic tidbits that he puts in through those books, it's just like, he sprinkles them out so judiciously, but like it's like perfect the way he does it. Like, honestly, like the dragon stars egg hatchlings, and they're just basically vulnerable little baby dragons that Daenerys has to take care of. And then eventually, by the time you get to the end of the the fifth novel, she's flying off on one. And it's like such a like, oh shit, yes, Daenerys, go. It's so cool. Like, I wish, from the bottom of my heart that the dude would finish those books, but he painted himself into a corner with all the incest and murders. And,
yes.
The
big thing that he had a hard time with was figuring out how to, because the whole Daenerys thing, the Marinese knot was the thing that, I know we're still talking about Game of Thrones. The whole Marinese knot was what screwed him up. What took him 6 years. What originally was supposed to take one year to finish, because after Feast for Crows, Dance with Dragons was supposed to be out the following year, 2006. Yeah. That didn't happen. It didn't come out till 2011. Because he got stuck with the Marinese knot. He
got him out of there.
He couldn't figure out timing for one thing. He couldn't figure out, like, when should Daenerys leave, and when should Tyrion arrive, or when should Victarion show up, or who's gonna be my point of view if Daenerys leaves. And he didn't want to use Sir Barristan for the longest time because, well, Sir Barristan knows too much. Because, once again, one thing I love about Song of Ice and Fire, you don't just have the present story, but you have the backstory. You have the stuff that happens during the Robert's Rebellion. So you get to see stuff, well, starting with Ned Stark's point of view, Jaime Lannister's point of view, and then John Connington in the fifth book. So so it's.
I wonder what he's gonna do with that.
So does this say I glitched?
No, you look good.
Oh, Trip says I glitched. So, maybe I'm not real. So, but yeah. So yeah, Song of Ice and Fire, great stuff. Definitely, I'm gonna watch House of the Dragon. I'm only 3 episodes into the first season, or my rewatch. So, I'm gonna be covering that on Sunday. So definitely gonna be watching season 2. So, but yeah, LPK. So yeah, I wanted to tell you about what I'm currently doing for lifting. So.
Tell me all about it.
Decided to, so I was supposed to do legs, but I decided, since it's been long enough, I decided to do back again. I always like to start the week with back. So been following what Pips has suggested, because I'm still on the road towards doing a pull-up, doing a real pull-up. So right now I have been doing I've been doing the inverted pulls. Not pulls, inverted rows, excuse me. So usually I go to a squat rack. I remove the bar, or not the bar. I remove the weights. I have the barbell. The barbell's on the rack and all that. And I started off having it about chest high, and then I started lowering it as I wanted to make it a little bit tougher and all that. So I have my arms fully extended, and I'm laying back, and then I just try to pull myself up the best I can, as much as I can. So yeah, I do it. I think I could do like up to 12 reps, and then by the time I do the 5th rep, I've been doing 4 to 5 reps. I think I went down to 4 reps today, but I was doing 5 reps a couple weeks ago. I do as much as I can, basically. Like, I start to fart out after the 4th or 5th rep. I start doing less and less because tired and more tired and all that. So,
no, that's excellent. I mean, have you tried a pull up? When was the last time you tried to do a pull up?
So whenever I do negatives, I go to the bar, and I hold on. And thing is, I still have to work on my grip strength, but I try to pull up as much as I can, and I could barely. I forget what they call it, but like it's more like a shrug. I end up doing like a shrug, and I can't really go any further. So, like I haven't done any negatives today. So what I did was I went on the counterweighted pull-up assist. So
those are all helpful.
Yeah, I'm doing the I was doing it the Marine way. So you have to be totally dead hanging, and then just pull yourself up, and oh geez. I had it set to 130, and I'm roughly, I think I'm 230 or something. I'm a big dude, so that's the other thing. I'm a heavy guy.
It's okay.
So I did the counterweight, and I was pulling myself up the best I could.
What's your counterweight?
I think I had set to 130. So it's only 100. It's only 100 pounds, but it's been a while since I did any.
100 pounds is a lot of pounds, bro. That's good work.
Yeah. So that's the thing. When you do it dead.
It feels good, doesn't it? Don't you think, when you get that stretch?
Yeah. When you're doing it, it's like it works everything. It works out my wrist, my forearms, my biceps, my shoulders, my core, everything. Like it's not just the lats, which is what I always thought. But when it got to a point where I just couldn't do another full pull up, I did a few, I would go down as far as I could and then just pull myself up, like, maybe halfway, and it would just work the lats and all that. So, but yeah, so I'm actually, I don't feel as bad as I did like years ago when I've, reattempted to go to the gym. I must have reattempted to go to the gym several times, and I always stop for, stupid reasons and everything.
No.
So
you get busy. It's a busy world. You work for a living. It is what it is. Brian, this is America. People get freaking busy in America.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't mean like, you get the American, like, go mentality, like Tripp's talking here. She knows like about go with me, but like, in America, you gain weight, you lose weight, you work out, you don't work out. It is what it is. You do the best you can until the best doesn't work anymore, and then you do the next best thing. You should be very proud of the, even like, 100 pounds on assisted pull-up is really good work.
So I appreciate that. All right. Well, I don't sell myself short to discourage myself. I sell myself short to I basically tell myself I can do more. I can do better.
Yeah, you can, you will. I mean, it's only a matter of time. Just stay dedicated. It's just like any other male hobby. Look behind you. Just take a second and look behind you. It's just like that. Working out is exactly the same thing. You just sort of like, let it build up, and then eventually you have a collection of skills under your belt that you can draw upon. Just like having a collection of DVDs that you can watch. It's exactly the same thing. After a couple of years of doing it, you have what you need to do to do what you need to do.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing though. Half of those things I haven't even opened the wrapping yet. Because maybe it's laziness. I don't watch nearly as much stuff as I used to. And what's funny is I'm the Nerdporeal channel, and I don't watch much stuff anymore, because I'm either watching YouTube or I'm busy doing stuff or hanging out with people or something. I don't know.
It's time. You're gracious enough to have me on your channel and talk to me for a couple hours. You could be in the gym right now, just absolutely destroying yourself. Why aren't you working out right now?
I didn't just go to the gym this morning. I actually went for a weighted walk. Here, I'll show you.
That's fun stuff.
So I've been putting these on my legs. I have really thick ankles. I have really big calves. I mean, if you ask Pips, he met me. I'm a big dude, but yeah, I've been walking with weighted things. So yeah,
do you like?
I do want to eventually get a pack. I do want to eventually get maybe a 40, 50 pound pack and just hike with that on or something like that. So
like there's a risk and reward to that. Do you like doing it? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Then do it. If you like, people will say don't do it because it's hard on your knees. If your knees feel good, then do it. If your knees start feeling bad, stop doing it.
Yeah. I don't have that. I don't have that issue. So,
the only other thing is, like, if you still enjoy your walks and you don't mind the extra resistance, keep doing it. Don't, like, there's going to be some naysayers that say that there's a risk reward that isn't there because it's going to be hard on your knees or hard on your hips or on your back or whatever. But if it's something you enjoy and it's something you like doing, keep doing it, because that's really like GI Joe will say, half the battle. You know, make it fun, enjoy. Like you said, like in the Discord, you take it off and you feel like Vegeta after working out in 150 times gravity. You know, that's hardcore.
Yeah, that's how it feels when I take. It's how it feels when I take off. It's how it feels when I take off the the weights. It feels like, you know, it's just it just feels so good after that. So yeah,
If it's
but
good, keep it up.
yeah, so I do have to. I still have not went to get a a pull up strap, so or an assisted pull up strap. So when I feel like I have good strength, I'm going to eventually shift from the counterweight to using to using a strap. That way I can get proper form and all that, and then hopefully build up to doing a real pull. Now I've done a pull up before when I was younger. When I was at my peak fitness, when I was 23. I actually ran a mile for the first time in my life because I had a workout buddy, my friend who finally came to my college. You know, when I was about to graduate, he actually started college, even though he went to community college for 4 years. We're the same age, and he got me to run every day. So we started running every day, and I'm an asthmatic, so that's why when I was growing up, I could never run a full mile. I would always fart out and, you know, huff and puff, and then I'd be walking the rest of the time. I couldn't get myself to run anymore. So
you should feel very proud of yourself for, you know, like keeping up a fitness regimen with asthma. You should be very, very proud of yourselves. And there are some there's like world-renowned athletes that have asthma. Yeah. There are people who play in the NBA who have it. There are people who've like run the marathons that have it.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not a good feeling. I've never felt it myself, other than like, you know, after running like, you know, a long time. I probably feel similar to what you feel like after, you know, maybe even just like, you know, like this thing hits your lungs and you know, all of a sudden you feel constricted.
Yeah.
But, don't it's one more thing that you have to sort of embrace about yourself, you know, and like feel pride about yourself. You know, I'm proud to have asthma and still do what I do, you know, and like and you can do whatever you want. It just might take you an extra month of training versus somebody who doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And just keep that in mind. You know, it's just going to take you another month, you know, and it's only going to make you, like, you know, look more impressive in the end with your resume. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing about what's weird is when I was younger, I did not have my asthma under control. So even when high school, I was on the wrestling team. We didn't weightlift nearly as much, but we did a lot of running, a lot of conditioning, a lot of sprinting, a lot of drills, leapfrogs, skipping, you know, crab walks,
like the crazy monkey stuff they have them do, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Then of course I did wrestle a few exhibition matches because the guy in my weight class was over 250, so that was like heavyweight, and we had a heavyweight person who was way better than me. He was shorter than me, but he was way better. Like he won like almost every match that he was in. So like I was not at his level.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Mark Lesnar. But yeah, I did manage to. I mean, I was a clumsy guy, but I did manage because I was a bit of a fighter. I didn't really ever I always avoided fights, but I was always big enough, and I always, you know, I was strong enough to be able to, you know, I wasn't afraid of people physically. I mean, now I consider myself weak and I have to get stronger. But when I was younger, I was actually pretty strong. But then wrestling humbled me quite a bit. So
physical strength. I mean, I don't know. Physical strength is a funny thing. It gets too seductive, like the dark side of the force. You start thinking like your physical strength is everything. Like, yeah, you know, I can bash down a steel door. No, I'm going to break every bone in my arm and my hand. I don't know. Like, it's just another fun male hobby to get stronger. You know, it's just like barbecuing. Like, you know, I got the big outdoor grill, I got the outdoor smoker, I got the gas hookup. Only I've got, like, you know, the fitness equivalent of that.
Yeah.
So, You know, it's just it's difficult to say. Like one, it's fun to have big muscles. There's no doubt about it. I have a great deal of fun with mine. I like them. I won't lie. But you know, in terms of an individual personality trait, I think there's like stronger people, like even in like the chat or like even in the community. Like, you know, there's a deeper strength out there than just like physical strength, and I try to like sort of work on sort of like spiritual strength as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes, you know, I mean, I've dealt with a lot. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of things. I've dealt with, you know, poor situations, and I've just had to adapt. And there were points where I've just, you know, feel sorry for myself. And I mean, I still struggle with it, but I simply tell myself, you know, not to feel sorry for myself, to have, to have gratitude, and to be humble. I mean, those are the two major things. And next week's Chillporeal, I'm gonna have a spiritual guru slash chef talking about. We're gonna talk about a guy from Boston. He's a big nerd, big Star Trek fan. We're gonna have him. He's gonna be talking about that with me next week. He talks about it on his channel. Yeah, I think the gratitude part is probably the most important thing. When you start to feel sorry for yourself, it's like I know, like addicts do this with their treatment. They have to do a gratitude list there. In my case, I say the gratitude, and it ends up becoming a prayer almost sometimes, spiritual moment, and I feel better after doing it.
Well, I do too. I was just watching like a small interview with Michael J. Fox. He said you know, he was in the middle of like, you know, like his spasm, because you know he has it's he has MS. What is it? Yeah, he has like
He has Parkinson's.
He has Parkinson's disease. He was saying like gratitude will allow you to continue to be optimistic. Gratitude leads to optimism. Gratitude will allow optimism to continue. And like, you know, by my view, like Michael J. Fox is stronger than I am in every single way. Even though I can, like, you know, I can put more weight on a bar than Michael J. Fox can. I'm not stronger than Michael J. Fox is. I mean, there's no question about that in my mind. You know, and a lot of that has to do with his perspective and what he's gone through. Yes. So, like, you know, I'm with you 100% with exactly what you were just saying there. Cool, man. Very, very cool new burial content.
Yeah, something like that. So, but just to go back, I mean, like, because I back, I think maybe 5-6 years ago, I did a lot of cardio. So I've been loving the elliptical, and I have the elliptical set at the highest weight, and it's helped me. One thing I realized is that maybe because I depended on asthma medication when I was in wrestling, even when I was working out with my friend when I was in college, you know, doing the mile and lifting and being in the best shape. Like I did, I managed to do up to 60 push-ups that year somehow. I don't even know how. Now I have to work. Let's say I have to work on that. I can barely do 20, 25.
That's a lot of push-ups.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's just a single set. So, yeah, I've been lazy. I've been lazy about it, but doing the elliptical, I just realized that depending on my diet and what I eat, like that will affect how I feel when I run or when I do any type of cardio. So like eating like junk food and greasy food, for instance, is going to be a factor. When I feel like a wheeze is coming on. When I don't do that, I don't wheeze generally. I might get a little out of breath, but even that's not so bad and all that. So,
do you think it's inflammation from the food itself?
I think so. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Usually, I always thought like it was either allergies that trigger my asthma or just exercise in general. Well, maybe I don't know. What's weird is I'm older and I have my asthma under better control now than I did when I was a kid. So that's a good thing. Oh, that way we're already an hour. I lost track of time. We're already an hour And so you have anything final before we go to commercial break and bring in our special guests?
I don't personally. No. Good. Go to commercial by all means.
All right, so we're going to go to commercial break. I'm going to play a few of my clips of stuff from my videos, and hopefully you guys will enjoy, and LPK can take a little break. And yeah, so we'll see you back here with our guests, special guests.
This time, it's war.
For those who remember, for those who will never forget, and for those who will experience the Star Trek adventure for the very first time. The Star Trek Hexology. Six timeless adventures that have changed Star Trek forever. Now, all 6 films remastered in glorious HD for the ultimate in sound and picture quality. This will be your last chance to own a physical copy of Star Trek. The Gene Roddenberry creation that launched the Star Trek franchise. The human adventure has just begun. For all generations. The original Star Trek films on sale one last time. Well, that last one was one of the earliest trailers I put together. That Star Trek Hexology thing, because what got me into Star Wars was the trailers that they had in the beginning of every VHS videotape, and they had something like that for the original Star Wars trilogy. So I took that and I made one for the 6 Star Trek films. So yeah, that was one of my earliest projects. That was like my 3rd video I ever uploaded. So. Yeah. So we have Trip here. What's up, Trip? Trip is the special guest for tonight.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Tired, but good.
So we were going to get a second guest, but second guest had to duck out because he's doing 200 and he's working on 230 practice problems right now for his test for a certification he's going to be doing. So Pips is not going to be here tonight. So we're not going to have that diehard reunion, Trip. Sorry.
Oh, darn it! Now Pips was just afraid I'd yell at him.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. That's what I'm thinking too. So
that's true. You don't yell at him.
So I haven't been on the Red Hand. What have you guys been? Have you guys argued again, or what's the latest thing?
Oh Trip? God, I don't even know. We always argue. When do we not argue?
I know. I'm just curious what the latest thing was.
I don't know about on Red Hand, but I removed myself for a while from certain contentious channels, religion and politics, because I get a little too a little too enraged once in a while. So
I've read them. It's pretty detailed stuff. So I'll just say that.
Yeah. But so since he can't poke at me in there, now he pokes at me in DM about that shit. So most recently it was subjective morality versus objective morality. Again, that's an ongoing back and forth. So yeah, I don't know. Red Hand has been kind of mellow outside the contentious channels. I mean, discussion about books and stuff, but that's probably because they haven't started the rewatches yet, and everybody's probably a little bit burnt out about talking about the show somewhat.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. Like I was talking to Steve earlier, just a few days ago when I popped on his stream for a little bit, that we need to do some, or you guys or whomever needs to do some streaming about why we love like Wheel of Time. And that's what I like. You do a lot of streaming about the stuff you love. And I think that's very cool.
Yeah, my part of the reason why I read the books because I mean, you guys all love them, obviously, and I've enjoyed the early books in particular. But I mean, the other thing is to give White Cloaks, something to, like give Pips and Alex and Dane and you and a whole bunch of other people a reason to say why they're good, and then put in their insight. And that's kind of what I felt like. That's kind of what I felt. Hopefully, I contributed to the White Cloak cause, so to speak. So,
Yeah, but
unfortunately,
there's a lot of other things that all of us love besides that as well.
oh yeah, I'm sure. Like what?
But
Like
I don't know.
outside?
Are
You
you
mean
gonna?
outside the Wheel of Time?
Yes,
Yeah.
but are you gonna finish Wheel of Time, or did you take a break? I
I took
really thought you needed a break.
Yeah, so I listened to. So I didn't haven't. I've read a little bit of the prologue of Lord of Chaos, but I've listened to I've listened to the audiobook when I was. So I do some door dashing. So I mean, I'm not going to do as much of it now because I'm going back to work pretty soon. But I was doing some door dashing just for just part time, and while I'm driving, I'm listening to the audiobooks, and so I mean, I don't pick up the details as well when I'm listening as versus actually reading it. But I did pick up on some of the major plot points that happened. So I got up to the part where Nynaeve, spoiler alert, basically heals Logain, and I think then she heals Liana and Suwan.
Right.
And
But
I
I'm like you, as much as I do a lot of audiobooks these days, because it doesn't kill my wrists like it used to, especially with hardcover Wheel of Time books or whatever, A Shy. Um, I get myself distracted. I'll be listening, but if I do anything else whatsoever, the next thing you know, I'm like, wait, I just missed 10 minutes of whatever the hell they were talking about. So it is hard. It's like, okay, I can do nothing else if I'm listening to an audiobook.
yeah. So so like I did pick up on some things. There's a lot of things I did forget. There's a lot of details I forgot. But I did pick up on Rand learns who his mother is, so he learns who the identity of Shail is, which I thought was actually pretty good. There's actually a lot of developments in this book. This feels kind of like, what's weird is I know I know how I have an idea how the book ends. I know there's based on seeing the cover, one of the later editions cover. So you see the Ashaman fighting the Shido. So obviously it's set up in I think obviously the Shido being the bad again, set up in the prologue with from the point of view of I think was it one of the Aes Sedai, one of the Katarina or whatever her name is. But yeah, they're working out some deal with the Aes Sedai, the White Tower Aes Sedai. So I have an idea. I kind of have an idea what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know exactly what leads up to it. So I'm still in the dark on that. But I think at the beginning of the prologue, I loved when we get to see Shale Ghul. I thought that was great. I thought that was great. And then Demandred, I like Demandred quite a bit. What's funny is I learned that Demandred and what's his name, Mazratime's another character I really like. I heard that they were originally supposed to be the same character, but then Robert Jordan changed it.
There's quite a bit of drama. Yes.
Like
you can start quite a bit of drama with that conversation.
Yeah.
What did they call it? Tamandrid?
Tamandrid. Only if you wish to. I mean, you could take it for what it is. Take it at face value. At this point in time, after how much time has passed since the book has been written, just sort of I can sort of look at it with a sort of a sense of acceptance. Like, okay, it is what it is here. That's what it was there. It changed, and now we go on.
Yeah, the fun along the way is all of the trying to, make guesses and make predictions and, all of that, even if they turn out to be incorrect or different. Or even if you don't necessarily agree with, maybe what Jordan said about something or what Sanderson suddenly pops up and says about, certain characters that would be a huge spoiler, so I won't say that. But Brian,
this is probably like the most like sincere and like non-obscene thing I've ever seen from Nas. Is he like?
So I actually have Blood Meridian on my.
Can we get some obscene bullshit, please?
No, do not encourage him. No,
spare us the the sanity, and and get right to the meat and potatoes, please. Crank it up.
Please. I wanted drama information earlier and you wouldn't spill it. So just whatever. I have a recommendation for Brian, though, because what I've kind of picked up when you talk about the books and different things that you like, Brian, I think you like a lot of action. And you do like when it's fast paced, which there's that's great. But I
like suspense. I like tension. I like high stakes.
Yeah. So if you don't already have this on your list or haven't read any of it, Matthew Riley. He is an Australian author, and I would love if he ever got his stuff made into movies. But he's written some that are very Indiana Jones type of novels, which are so much fun. But I think what you would love are his Scarecrow novels. They're over the top, they're insane, they're military, and you want to talk about like high stakes, like end of the world kind of thing. He's almost like a military James Bond in a way, but that is one of the best characters I have ever read in my life. Scarecrow is fantastic. So you might give it, and it's a very engaging, quick read. It's not like the novels are tiny, and there's more than one. You know what I mean? They're self-contained.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you have this series like, oh, well, if I haven't read that one, or I'm going to be left with a cliffhanger or anything like that. But I don't know. I just thought I would recommend those to you because you might really enjoy those.
I like Stephen King, even though I know I like Stephen King stuff. I like Song of Ice and Fire. Especially Song of Ice and Fire, and the way that's set up, because it's unpredictable, but there's just every chapter like either leads to it's building up to something, or it's either building up to something, or we learn something. We learn a profound detail. Which my issue with Wheel of Time is there's chapters that are just feel like they're just there to kind of take up space and maybe do some, in my opinion, insignificant world building, like boring world building.
I've listened to your streams about that, but if you get around to it, give one of his Scarecrow books a try. I would just be curious to see.
All right. I mean, sure. I'm currently reading a book that just came out and that my friend recommended, and it's okay, but I've gotten so used to reading Wheel of Time with all the details. This just doesn't compare, but it's not bad so far. It's called Between Two Fires. It's by what's the guy's name? It's a recent book that came out. It's what's his name? Christopher Buhlman, An Epic Tale of Medieval Horror. That's what I'm currently reading. It takes place during the Black Death, and it's about a girl who's the key to everything. Yeah. Girl who's the key to everything teams up with a knight who is, let's just say he's a bad dude, or he acts like he's a bad dude, and he has to escort her to a city or to a town. I don't know what the town is yet because I'm only 10% in, And in the backdrop, there are monsters on Earth because God has turned his back on us. God has turned his back on us. And because of that, the angels, the fallen angels, are in a war with the angels loyal to God. And because of that, there's all Earth is basically hell. There's hell on Earth, basically. There's monsters eating people, and that's how much I know so far. But it's supposed to be like a low fantasy horror and everything, and that's what I'm currently reading. And I'll probably eventually go. I plan to go back to Lord of Chaos. Actually, read the book actually this year. So, but yeah, I don't think Lord. I mean, so far I think I like Lord of Chaos more than Fires of Heaven and even The Shadow Rising. I don't think it adds up. I don't think I like it as much as at least the book 2 and book 3. Maybe it's up
really,
there
really
with book 1. So yeah, book 2, Great Hunt. Like the book as a whole is just captivating from start to finish. Like there's the stakes with Pen Fane, them chasing him. I mean, there was a whole conspiracy in the beginning of the book. There was Rand going a little, Rand was going very, he was getting pretty paranoid with the Aes Sedai. I thought the Aes Sedai were going to be a bigger threat than they actually were. Like the Aes Sedai, I don't care about the Aes Sedai at this point in the story. I thought the Aes Sedai were going to be bigger.
You're not really alone there.
Yeah. So me and Prophet, me and Steve make the joke. They're in Saladar, but we call it Salad Bar because that's how it feels.
Ever. God, Steve, a home run.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like the Sean Chan, creating that even bigger sense of stakes. And then heck, even Moraine, who was, she's like the powerful Gandalf character. Even she is not safe. Like there's a point where like it was a good chapter. Like we learned quite a bit of significant world building about the legend of the dragon based on what was recorded in this world. And I thought it was a very interesting chapter. And then it ends with that. And then of course you got land, embrace death and all that. And then, I mean, some of the best lines in the entire series from The Great Hunt, like I think duty is heavier than a mountain was from The Great Hunt. And death is just death is light as a feather. That's great stuff. I mean, I'm sure Lord of Chaos is going to deliver too. I know I already heard that saying in Lord of Chaos, but yeah. But yeah, I love the end of The Great Hunt. Like my reaction to it on my stream with guys was genuine. So that's the only reason why I'm going to try and read it. I'm going to still read read to the end because of how good those early books were. So even if I might not like the rest of the series as much, I'll still try to get through it. And I don't know, it's going to be weird, but I'm wondering if I'm going to fall into that camp where I'm going to really enjoy the Sanderson books at the end.
Maybe. You never know, except he totally fucks Matt over. Don't get me started.
That's what I heard.
Not as bad as the show.
Well, no, how could anybody do it as bad as the show?
Matt, at least he still exists in sort of like some sense of Matt.
Well, I know, but are you trying to enrage me? Are you trying to destroy my zen?
No. He is present in the books. He has a really cool moment in, I think I don't remember. I think it was the final book. I don't even want to spoil it. I mean, because Brian still hasn't read it. But I like that the battle the battle that he was present in toward. It was basically where it was like a.
Are you talking about the main? Sorry, Brian. Are you? And I'm not going to spoil, but
Brian, have you ever played the Dynasty Warriors game?
About the one that we waited for the entire.
No,
series?
Not that one. The other ones.
Oh, I was going to be severely disappointed.
You're being so obscure. Like Brian, he has no idea. Have you ever played Dynasty Warriors, Brian?
I mean, I played Hyrule Warriors, which is the Zelda version of Dynasty Warriors, but no, I haven't played the main series. No.
Well, have you ever seen the cutscene where all of a sudden all the little Asian dudes on the horses are literally drop and shit their pants, and oh, it's Lou Boo, oh, and they're and then Lou Boo shows up and he's got this headdress that's got feathers all over the fucking place, and he basically takes his spear out and murders 500 people.
No, I know I haven't seen that.
Matt has a moment like that in one of the later Sanderson books. I think Sanderson played Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, and I've said this before, but Sanderson, because you're familiar with Elden Ring, right?
I've never played it. I don't play video games really much anymore these days,
but you're familiar with. I don't know if you're familiar,
I know
but Elden Ring was written by the world building was written by George R. R. Martin, and Sanderson is a big fan of those games, and he's still, jokingly, he was raw about it. He's just like I'm the one that I'm the guy that's played your games, and yet you hire George R. R. Martin, who hasn't finished his own series, to do that. So I always like to bring that up, because like I know he jokes about it, but it's but yeah, it's funny to hear that, because he actually doesn't sleep. From some, I don't know who I heard this from, maybe from Steve or something, but he doesn't. I watched some of his content. Sanderson doesn't sleep. Like he'll write a book, he'll start writing another book at a certain time, and then like from like 2 to 4 in the morning he plays video games, and then he has family time, and then he writes at night, and then he plays video games, and I think he writes some more in the morning, and then more family time. I don't know. Like, yeah. Oh, Shai says he does.
Got that special Mormon,
There's no way he does that without drinking coffee. You can't drink coffee if you're a Mormon. There's no way.
Yeah, well.
There's no way. I don't believe it for a second.
They're allowed to have caffeine, just not coffee, and certain teas. So I know way too much about it. Damn it.
Are they like chomping on the beans?
No, they can't have the beans. That's the problem.
Where
it's all about from? It's all about the beans, and then the teas. It has something to do with, there are certain types of like tea leaves they can't have, so they can have like chamomile tea. They can have soda.
Lemon lift.
They could have like Mountain Dew. For all we know, he could be like a Mountain Dew freak. We don't know.
So be it. So let it be written. So let it be done. John Smith.
God.
All right.
I know. I'm curious. I'm curious if Sanderson will not let any studio touch any of his work or something, based on his reaction to, especially to Wheel of Time and all that. So
his writing's already borderline as it is. If they turned it into like a TV show, it'd be like, the worst.
Well, all he's got to do is start they're not. What are they called now? What was the last fundraiser that he did? I swear to God, all he's got to do. Yeah, well, it was what? Because it wasn't Kickstarter. It's whatever the new popular one is now. I can't remember what it's called.
Indiegogo?
Yeah. No, I could look it up. I'll look it up here in a second. But it's like all Sanderson has to do is put out there, and people just throw money at him. I mean, he won't take women's panties, so I guess they just throw money at him instead. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't think it was. Had you not heard of he raised billions? Shai, was it Kickstarter? I don't think it was Kickstarter.
I don't think he raised billions. I think
maybe it was.
He raised millions, but I'm sure he didn't raise billions.
41.7 million.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
41 for what? For making a book?
Yeah.
That's backer kit. That's what it is. Not Kickstarter, but backer kit.
There's the physical media of making the books and printing them, right? And then he always you always have to have your stupid add-ons, here's your Brandon Sanderson headshot, here's your sticker book, here's your Brandon Sanderson bottle opener, so you can open your beer with Brandon's face. I mean, what does he give out with those things? I mean, $40 million is a lot of money. You don't need that much money to make a book.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot there.
They always have different levels. I could look it up. I'm being lazy. I already looked up the backer kit thing. Make Shy
Different
look it
branded
up.
though.
Shy.
I mean, he's got a staff. He's got he probably has probably close to at this point probably 100 people working for him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he has his own publishing company now. So I mean, like, I was Dragon Steel. I think Dragon Steel is his publishing company.
Right.
So it's funny. I was at the airport. So like I said, I went on a trip and all that. I was at the airport in El Paso, and Sanderson made it to the airport bookstore. So two of his books were at the airport bookstore. The Sunlit Man was there, and what was the other one? Tress of the Emerald was the other one that was present at the airport bookstore. So so I don't know, Sanderson. Yeah, I don't know, Sanderson's. I guess Sanderson's up there with King and Patterson and Kuntz and Steele now.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, I would want Warbreaker or Elantris there for the flights.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like those would be better for a 5-hour trip. But gosh, I mean,
I got the I mean, I basically everybody recommended. I actually bought the first Wave. I bought the Wave Kings, the first Stormlight. Steve's
Didn't put you
recommendation.
over limit with your luggage. That was my thought. Buy some of those books, and next thing you know, you're way over limit, and you got to pay like $50 just to take the damn books on the plane.
I fly Southwest. I don't have to worry about that. I can just put it in my book bag. I could put in my my computer bag and all that. So
yeah, that's right. Brian's got O'Hara out there, and Midway. He's got good airports to fly out of. He has all the flights.
I flew out. Yeah, so O'Hare started doing Southwest Airlines, but like their flights are not the best. So I still will travel to Midway. I'm close to O'Hare, but I actually drive all the way to Midway to go to fly out or something. So yeah,
Midway's probably the better choice. I mean.
I don't know. That makes me think of the Sebastian Maniscalco little skit that he does about airports. He's like, "What? My sock is gonna make the plane go down?" And yet, like Shai is talking about, he could put 2 heavy books in his coat pockets. But yeah, it's a racket.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, for me, because I get a good deal. I actually, I have my luggage. I carry one luggage. I put in the compartment, and then I carry my bag. I carry my computer bag with me, and you're supposed to put it under the seat when you when the plane takes off, and then you can take it out, and then you got to put it back when the plane lands and all that. So yeah, that's just how it is for me. I don't have to check anything. So luckily for me so far. So yeah, but that's I haven't read anything on the trip. I took out my phone, and luckily HBO Max I was able to download movies on my phone. I was able to watch Fistful of Dollars, Clint Eastwood. And that made the time go by quick. That movie is so awesome. You guys seen Fistful of Dollars?
It's been a while, but yeah, I've watched all of those. But you can't beat Dirty Harry. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's true. I was talking about Dirty Harry earlier with you were there. So yeah, we were talking about with John and everything. So yeah, I love the spaghetti westerns though. But going back, I wanted to before we take off for the night, I wanted to talk about what are you guys currently reading? What shows are you currently watching? I did watch the first episode because I know you both enjoyed the 3-body problem. I finished the first episode of the series so far.
Are Steve and Salty still here? This could go sideways, Brian.
I don't think so. I haven't seen them, so I'm guessing they took off. But so I'm not really interested in the girl that works at the company and all that and her coworkers. But I was more interested in the Chinese plot behind it. So the movie it begins with, I think there's like a cultural, I forget what they call it, like one of those cultural struggle sessions or something.
The Cultural Revolution.
Yeah, Cultural Revolution.
Mao Zedong, the struggle sessions which took place with the where people would be like forced to admit that they were wrong. It's just like
so they beat the crap out of the I forget the character's name, but her father gets beaten to death in front of her, and then the mother just totally retracts everything, says, "Oh, we were wrong," blah blah blah. She got scared and all that. And I liked how like that was all that was all in the 60s, and then she ends up being like I think she was arrested and she's doing like hard labor, and then she meets a dude. This dude gives her a book. I forgot what the book was, and then she gets in trouble for it, and she's taken, because of her expertise, she's taken to a base where she has to help them. They're listening to a radio. They're right by a radio satellite. They're listening to something, and we find out that there's alien life, basically.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that it's a book series. I know it's like a book trilogy and all that. I believe it's supposed to be another alien invasion type of series and all that. So it starts off with them just finding out that there's aliens out there.
It is after I watched Three Body Problem, because I've had the audiobooks for a while amongst a whole bunch of others, and I kept wanting to read it. So after I watched the series, because I did enjoy the series, I know LPK didn't so much like how it ended in season 1.
There were parts of the ending that I liked. There were parts that I liked. I liked it. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for Brian if he hasn't seen the last few episodes, but there's parts that I enjoyed quite a bit.
Yeah, well, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying it was the best thing since Post Toasties, but especially in comparison to a lot of crap that's out there. But no, I actually enjoyed it. But I went down the rabbit hole about the book series, and so that actually made me appreciate the show a lot more. And there are some changes, but the book series would be very difficult actually to adapt in a lot of ways. So I kind of appreciate how they've done it. But yeah, that is one heck of a kind of a very dark, scary presentation on the whole concept of aliens, right? And I don't know, have you heard of the concept of the dark forest, Brian?
No.
In regards to alien life? So I guess my take on the dark forest is that so if there is alien life out there, they are probably going to be more technologically advanced, right? If they're able to, like, we're reaching out and going, hey, we're here. Hi, jumping up and down and waving our arms and basically going, hey, here we are. Come eat us, right? If you want to look at it in that way.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of the concept of, well, you know what? Maybe we are unaware of any technologically advanced alien life in the cosmos because the majority of them go, oh, hell no, we're not, going to like jump up and down and make our presence known because there are big bad guys out there. So if you make your presence known, they're going to come eat your lunch. So that's kind of the dark forest theory, is like if you're out in a dark forest at night with, bears, lions, tigers, and bears, oh my.
Yeah.
Are you going to hunker down and be quiet and kind of hide? Or are you going to present yourself as dinner?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. All right. Now I understand. Okay. I understand now. Yeah. It's weird. Like, there's like, there's the pessimist, or the glass half empty people, or the more cautious, don't make our presence known. They could come to conquer us. They could steal. I mean, a lot of anime shows, aliens come and they try to steal the planet by irradiating it, looking at you, Star Blazers, Space Battleship Yamato, or even go all the way back to H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds, something like that, or like you said, just come and consume us.
Well, and when you just look at our own experience as a race, has there ever been any isolated race of human beings that have come into contact with the more technologically advanced societies? Like when our societies would find, quote unquote, like a lost Amazon tribe or something. Have they ever really, truly survived? Has their culture really, truly survived? Not like we go, kill them or anything necessarily, but looking at you, Britain, okay, I have a flag.
Did you bring a flag?
Brian may not know what we're referencing there.
The British Empire was like really kind of like humane compared to the French Empire, though. The British sort of like let everything go. The French fought wars to keep what they had and lost every single one of them. But like the British were like, okay, whatever. Except for the American colonies. We kicked the shit out of them. But like after that, they were like, okay, maybe we shouldn't fight wars over these things. And like
well, yeah, I mean, that's just, one of the weird kind of takeoffs, but it does seem like it's
these asses. I think we could fuck them up.
What, aliens?
Yeah, if they showed up. They're like,
really? No.
Get some nukes going.
No, they're like string beans. They're like come up with their big freaking heads and their stupid stringy arms and legs. They're not even wearing any clothes. They're walking on their flying saucers.
They're not even going to come down here in person, okay,
they're
or in whatever you want to call them, because person
they're so big and bad. Just wait. Like, what about with their stupid freaking flying saucers and their dumbass, like light bulb heads? What are they going to actually fucking do about it?
What are they going to do? Have you not? Do you not know what a Death Star is? Huh?
They're not going to fly their Death Star, and they're going to have their little they're going to be like we come like they're going to try to smart us out, but we've already seen all the movies.
Oh, please! All they have to do is divide us a little bit. Now we're getting into politics, Brian. Mm-hmm. All they'd have to do is just divide us a little bit more.
Haven't you seen Starship Troopers?
Yeah, right. Starship. They bring giant bugs. I'm moving into a cave. Leave me alone. They better not look like giant bugs, because I'm done for if that's the case. I had to kill 3 spiders tonight. Come on.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Did you get them?
I did.
Anyway, like as easy as you could squish those spiders, I could take an alien.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
They have look at their eyes, like
how do you know what they? Oh, come on, that's Hollywood's versions of aliens.
How big their eyes are.
What if they're aliens? Now I can't remember what they're called. Freaking, the queen bitch.
Oh well, that's a different story altogether.
Now all of a sudden it's a different story.
You need Sigourney Weaver. If you're not Sigourney Weaver, you're screwed. You're in a lot of trouble in an alien movie.
I got a question since Death Star has been brought up. I have to ask you: have any of you seen the newest Star Wars show, Acolyte?
No, but I've seen a lot of bitching about it, and yeah,
I watched it. I didn't hate it as much as like other Disney stuff that they've done, like Kenobi or even Ahsoka. But I'm not going to say it's good either. But what's weird is some aspect of the story somehow interested me. I don't know how, because it still has there's still a lot of problems with it. It's still your typical Disney Star Wars. It's still boring at points, but
it's
there was a bit of a murder mystery at the start. Like what's going on? What's this plot going to happen? Why are Jedi being killed again? Which I guess interested me because it made me think of the prequels. I don't know. And then all of a sudden they do a backstory in the third episode, which was this week's episode. And I'm a sucker for learning backstories about things that lead up to certain things. I mean, I've seen the Berserk anime, I've seen other shows, and I've read books that that go into the backstory. I'm a sucker for that. But then they go into the backstory, and it just, well, they kind of kill, like, I don't know if I'd say they kill the lore per se, but they've already killed the lore. But they're rewriting the Force, and like, so apparently the twins in this series are basically created from out of nothing. There's no father, and it gets very political. Like, let's just say it gets very political. Like, there's two witches, two moms involved, and you know where this is going, basically. And they use magic to create these magic and miracles or something to create these two characters or something that are just like Anakin. And they kind of kill what made Anakin unique in the first place.
I saw a comment that you had two women who used the Force to create life or something or other. I did see a comment along those lines, and I'm putting it very mildly compared to what the actual comment was, but yeah.
So yeah, DJ Ronnie G, thanks for being a member. Mother Brain reference. I forget what that was in response to. Mother Brain being the villain of the original Metroid and all that. So, but yeah, so all right, but yeah, the Acolyte. I don't know. I didn't hate it. If that's weird enough, I didn't hate it.
I don't know. I haven't watched really any Star Wars since. God, we were just talking about this, LPK.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course the movies, but the sequels I watched 7, and I still, even after just 2 nights ago, I still get the names of the movies screwed up because I'm just like, whatever.
Force Awakens, then there was The Last Jedi, then there was The Rise of Skywalker. I haven't watched.
Okay, so The Force Awakens is the one I watched and was almost violently Wheel of Prime on it, even though Wheel of Prime wasn't out yet. That's a new verb, Wheel of Prime. But series-wise, I did watch The Mandalorian, and I kind of enjoyed that, actually. And then I watched the Book of Boba Fett, and after that went, yeah, no, I'm not doing any more. So I haven't watched any new Star Wars stuff after that.
Okay.
There's been Kenobi. There's been a couple others. There's been Kenobi. There's one other. There's been like another season of The Mandalorian, I think, or something, or the Book of Boba Fett.
They did a third season of The Mandalorian. The second season was the one where they ended with Luke Skywalker coming in CGI, Luke Skywalker saving the day and all that, which got a lot of fans excited for some reason. I thought it was a pleasant surprise, but then I kind of knew where the series was going, the way they treated Boba Fett in that second season. I was like, Boba Fett's gonna be bad, and then I ended up being correct. Boba Fett was bad. I didn't even bother watching it. I didn't watch the third season of The Mandalorian, but I did watch like the Luke Skywalker stuff on YouTube. So, and they completely changed what happened and everything. They literally steal something. They literally steal a scene from Lone Wolf and Cub, which is a Japanese manga. It's a Japanese, movie adaptation, super ultra violent. Takes place during the Edo era and all that. About a father and son that are just out there, being hunted by the powerful, and yet they're committing, assassins chapter by chapter, movie by movie, or something. So, but yeah, they literally steal a scene from the beginning of that story. You have to choose between death or life, basically, the ball or the sword. And they did something similar in Mandalorian with the helmet and the helmet and the lightsaber. So the lightsaber, he goes with Luke, trains to be a Jedi, where he chooses the helmet, and he goes back to the Mandalorian. He ends up choosing, little baby Yoda ends up choosing going back to the Mandalorian. I was like, what was the point of the end of the season 2 then? And they did this in the Book of Boba Fett. So when you see season 3 of The Mandalorian, you don't watch Boba Fett, you're gonna be like, what happened? Why is Baby Yoda back with the Mandalorian? And then so yeah.
Well, and that seems to be kind of part of the problem, is it's all too interwoven. Like you've got to watch everything to. It's not one of those situations. Okay, we'll take, like, you talked about how you like Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, Stephen King, has created his own universe, right? Like Crimson King and the Dark Tower and all of that. But other than the actual Dark Tower series, right? You can still read so many of his other novels outside of that. And if you're familiar with the universe, then you can go, oh, that's cool, when you spot like a little reference. But if you're not familiar with it and the reference doesn't, you're not familiar, so it doesn't click with you, it doesn't matter. It's not like you had to be familiar with that to actually enjoy a standalone novel that is set still in the universe. But Star Wars has gotten, and even like the MCU, they've all gotten so interwoven that it's like they don't make standalone shit anymore.
No, they don't.
But the Shy did remind me, I did watch Solo, and I liked Solo.
Solo was good.
I didn't love it, okay, like, the original Star Wars, but I liked it. But that one, I mean,
that was good.
sure, being familiar with the rest of the universe, sure, that would help. But I think you could still watch Solo without truly having to know all of the rest of the ins and outs. But Star Wars is so hit and miss that it's just like, I don't even want to attempt to watch. I'm not even tempted to watch The Acolyte. Who knows? I might like it, but I'm not even tempted to watch it because it's so hit and miss that it could be utter crap or it could be pretty decent. You're just like, eh.
Well, who's read the Heir to the Empire books, the Timothy Zahn trilogies?
I read the first one. Great book.
There you go. Great book, really good book. The follow-ups were good. They weren't. I mean, the Heir to the Empire was like, really, really good, and they sort of like wrapped it up with the trilogy. But like, those were great expanded universe novels for Star Wars. Really, really sort of like keyed into the spirit of the movies too. Like, it was basically like you were reading a book that very easily could have been a script that George Lucas had written. Timothy Zahn definitely was. He understood, what makes a Star Wars story. And they had all of that to draw upon if they wanted to, but they didn't. It's really quite sad, but
yeah. And they decided to retcon Thrawn, and they bring Timothy, write this other trilogy that takes place during, like that takes place before the original trilogy. So I mean, it takes place during actually the Star Wars Rebels thing when they bring Thrawn back and all that, and they bring Thrawn back in Ahsoka. Ahsoka was another show I couldn't stand. I watched the first few episodes. Terrible, and then they had the episode with Hayden Christensen as Anakin. There was like a little she falls and goes into a fever dream. I thought that was brilliant because they showed like the Clone Wars, so we actually got to see a live action version of the Clone Wars, which was only seen in animation.
That would be cool.
And Hayden Christensen still has it. Like he could just, even though he's much older now, he could still play.
No.
He could still play Anakin. He could still move and move like Anakin. Like he did.
Oh, so you're telling me he still acts like he's a bundle of wet hair in a paper bag?
Oh dear. Oh, come on.
No, I'm not talking. Well, I'm not talking about his. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like his movement, like his movement, his presence, and everything. He still has it. Like nowadays actors can't even wield lightsabers, or there's terrible choreography now. He still remembers the choreography he did 20 years ago.
Well, they had him do it for like hours on end.
So he still can move like he did back when they were doing the prequels, back when he was in his 20s. So
Well, as long as he doesn't have to actually say anything and act, I'll give you that.
Oh,
he said
harsh
some
criticism.
things, and I was okay with it. Like, I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think there was some cringe stuff. You continue to underestimate my power, something like that.
To survive. What about little?
You will try.
Like, oh my
Well,
god.
he's like, okay, I know I'm going to be disagreed with on this one too, but he's like Robert Pattinson. He has no charisma. He has no
Really? I think Robert Pattinson's a pretty good actor.
Of all the
I
prequels, name one good piece of dialogue from the prequel trilogy. George Lucas sucked at writing dialogue. He relied entirely upon his actors of putting any kind of emotion into it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
I liked
He's like
I like Liam Neeson stuff.
He's just,
At
I'm not
last
even
we'll have our
talking
revenge.
about the dialogue. I'm simply talking about I
Around
don't
the
know.
survivors, a perimeter create.
Hey, that was an awesome scene, though. Not if anything to say about it.
You saved all the best lines for Yoda.
Yeah. Oh, I love his dialogue with the Emperor. It's like, at an end, your rule is, and not short enough it was. If so powerful you are, why leave?
It's like, Master Yoda, you survive.
You will not stop us. Darth Vader will be more powerful than either of us. Like that. There you go.
Oh,
Confidence in your new apprentice misplaced, maybe.
As is your fate in the dark side of the Force. And then the fight begins. I love that. That was epic. I'm sorry. I like that. I love that.
Oh, this has now just become a nerd off of Star Wars dialogue.
Zoom, 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 throwing those Senate seats at him. Maybe Palpatine's from Illinois after all.
He could be. You never know.
So, all right. So we're approaching the 2-hour mark. LPK, John, Trip, thank you for joining me. This has been a great stream. Anything you guys want to promote? Anything you guys tell us what you're reading, what you're watching, or what you guys have any idea when the White Cloaks are going to do something? You guys have any inside knowledge? Or anything? Like, is there going to be a rewatch? Is Dane going to do a book cloak stream for the Great Hunt? Is Pips going to come out of retirement? Maybe once he achieves his dad strength goal and all that. Like, what's happening? I mean, Alex and Lady are going to get married and all that. I mean, a lot of stuff is going on. So, just curious.
There is. I think they are still planning on doing rewatches. I just don't have a clue as to the timing. They're currently in the let's blame each other's schedules stage of not actually starting the rewatches. And
it's a great way to do it. If you're busy, like, blame the other person.
Exactly.
And they're both very, like, they're both professionals, like, so they can, like, they're good at doing that. And they're doing it. I mean, it is what it is right now. I mean, essentially, like Alex is very busy with work and he's getting married, and that's not, that's a lot of work as well. Pips is out of, like, the country half the freaking year. Unfortunately, I hope he's staying safe as much as he can. He's home right now, which is good. So, and he's probably, like, maximizing the time with his family. And that's really about the whole story. I don't know much about it.
He is so nice. I'm not nearly that nice.
It's not. I'll tell you, it's not easy having a newborn. They shit their pants like 5 times a day.
No, I wasn't referring to that. There wasn't. I do think, though, they are, even if Pips is out of the country, sometimes he might be. Last I knew, anyways, they've got ways that they can work around that and everything. But since I am currently feuding with one of the original White Cloaks, I don't have a lot of inside information right now. So, but hopefully they do. I don't know if they have any other plans for stuff either. I just don't know. You need to poke at him, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I I mean, I talk to them. I talk to them pretty
You're
regularly.
probably
So
going to see him in person shortly, aren't you?
possibly.
Yeah. Why are you trying to pretend like, I don't know, maybe it's a
Did you get
giant
an invite?
secret,
Well, that's cool.
whatever. Come on. So yeah, probably that's when you need to poke
I'm
at
actually really close. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be there.
That's
No,
really
that's
fun.
very cool.
Enjoy. Is it going to be an open bar? Get really drunk.
Okay, I'm not even sure Alex could afford that, okay?
probably. I don't know, but
With the White Cloaks, really? You think he could afford to put an open bar?
You never know. You never know. Like the worst I've ever been in a wedding, I was like riding an elevator for like an hour.
I forgot. I was gonna have a drink. I was gonna have a drink. I was gonna have a drink with you, LPK. I forgot about it. Dang it.
Oh my
Next
God.
time.
What were you doing? Was it like, did it have 30 floors and you were just hitting every floor on the way up being one of those annoying passengers and then every floor on the way down?
It started with like a wedding, like of just like drinking, and then like I went to like one of the groups and I smoked weed, and then I was just riding the elevator for a while until somebody like got me out of the elevator.
Wow, that's crazy.
God. Brian, what I'm watching, I don't know that have I watched anything new lately that stuck with me, but I don't think so, because otherwise I'd remember it. But
or what are you currently reading?
Well, not actually what I'm currently watching, because I find myself going back to a lot of my old favorites because I know I'm gonna like them. So I am currently binging The Last Ship again. I really enjoy the first 3 seasons of it. The last season is kind of like, as that happens a lot. But and then reading, actually, when I am reading, I'm rereading The Moat in God's Eye right now. And somebody needs to do some more Belgariad.
Yes. I moonlight as narrator.
He does, but I think I need to pick a Pratchett book. We kind of switch off reading stuff to each other, recording, stuff for each other, a different book. So I think I'm going to do some Pratchett. I just have to figure out.
You said this is the Moat in God's Eye. You're talking the Moat in God's Eye trip.
Probably. Have you read The Gripping Hand?
No, I haven't read anything by. No.
Well, no, that's the follow-up to The Moat in God's Eye. It's sci-fi. It's really freaking good.
Yeah, I haven't read. I don't think I've seen anything by Larry Niven. I heard of Ringworld though. I haven't read it, but I've heard of it. It was recommended by another YouTuber.
I have a hard time getting into Ringworld, but I like Larry Niven and Purnell when they collaborate.
What's his writing style like? I'm curious. Like, is he very like scientific, mathematical, like let's say Stanislav Lem, or is he more? Is he more hard science fiction, or is there
hard sci-fi light? So he puts enough because like I said, I read their collaborations rather than individual, but so I think there's enough hard sci-fi in it, like physics and mathematics to kind of satisfy the people who want that, but it's not so hard that someone like me who just has a passing familiarity with physics gets lost and is like, what the hell? No, I don't need all the formulas and stuff. So I don't know.
Unobtainium. Oh, that's where is this where unobtainium comes from? Really?
I was told there would be no math.
I wonder if I think the concept of Halo comes from Ringworld too. So I had no idea. Interesting.
Yeah, so your turn, LPK.
I don't read. I'm illiterate. I sort of like bounce
You,
around from one thought to the next.
Not even
you
rereading
sit
Wheel of Time.
on a throne of lies,
I've been
dear.
reading the Bulgarian out loud.
Okay. I think I have the first Bulgarian book. Let me see.
The Pawn of Prophecy.
Yep. Let me see.
We just passed the
We're nearing the end of Queen of Sorcery.
the what? The Dryad. He can't say that word.
The Dryad, date rapist. You can't. Oh, I just said it. I guess what it is.
I was trying to keep it a family stream. Thank you very much.
I mean, where do little baby dryads come from?
Men who accidentally stumble into the forest
Accidentally.
and
don't have I got lost in the dryad
candy.
woods. What am I going? Whatever am I going to do?
Yes, if you go into the forest, be sure to take a pocket full of candy for distraction and bribery purposes.
And hydrate before you go in.
Yeah, I got Pawn of Prophecy too. So yeah, it's in my I have that. I have the Dragonbone Chair. I have the first Thomas Covenant book.
If you want to get
Malazan, I have first Malazan book.
Some good 90s fantasy, if I could recommend to you, would be some Weiss and Hickman stuff, like Dragonlance or even like the Deathgate cycle, if you want, or they're fun stuff. They're good books. They're good reads in like
Hasselhoff and Fizban. Yes.
Zifnab.
Exactly. They're really a lot of fun, and they are like what the OG Dungeons and Dragons,
Right. Before there was Brandon Sanderson, there was Weiss and Hickman books.
Yes, Dragonlance is awesome.
As often as you'd see like a shelf full of Brandon Sanderson like titles at a Barnes & Noble, it used to be completely full of Weiss and Hickman stuff. Like
so Weiss, I'll look up Weiss and Hickman. Okay.
Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. They wrote a great deal.
Tracy Hickman. All right.
Oh my God! And they spawned like an entire. What would you call that? Because there are so many tangential, like worlds and series, and like the Dark Elves and just probably hundreds of books now.
I don't even know. I think Harry Potter takes a little bit from it. Like I don't even know exactly how. But there's something about like what J.K. Rowling's done, feels like early '90s fantasy. Like the fantasy elements that are in her books almost feel like she peeled it out of '90s fantasy fiction.
Interesting.
But she's a talented author in her own right, But
all right. Well, I have to take off myself. I'm going to be on another stream, kind of arguing once again the Acolyte with Price of Reason and Dread Roberts. So I'll be on Price of Reason's channel for actually in a half an hour from now. So everybody, thanks for being here. Trip, thanks for being the double secret guest.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, Brian. I'm always the secret guest or the one that just appears. I'm just giving you crap because I know you asked me earlier when I wasn't able to.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, I know. I figured, I wanted to have a guest. I knew Pips was kind of up in the air, so that's why I asked you, Trip. So you're the.
Oh, geez! Now I'm just a substitute for Pips, just in case. You know what? Quit while you're ahead, Brian.
Everybody has a crush on Pips. Give him a break.
And this is true, except me.
That's true.
Everybody has a crush on Pips.
Everybody loves it. Like it's just like LL Cool J, like LLPJ.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he's okay. We're practically friends, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you know why Pips and I can't be on a stream together? Because we're each other's alts.
It's true.
Nobody knows who came first, the chicken or the egg.
And it's really quite scandalous, the things they say in chat.
Yeah, probably. So
Thanks for inviting me, Brian. This is fun. I enjoy it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having you.
I still do not believe you're 40. There is no way with that baby face. There is no fucking way.
I'm not 40. I'm 39, but I'll be 40 in November.
Well, yeah.
There's not a single wrinkle or blemish.
Well, it's fun. What's funny was I used to be made when I was younger. I used to be made fun of for looking older. Like when I was in high school, everybody thought I was like, people thought I was like the teacher or something because I was already developed and everything. I had facial hair by the time I was 13. So yeah, so everybody thought I was already fully grown.
You are a secret Aes Sedai. You have that ageless look. When you're young, you look old, and when you're older,
nah, I wouldn't say I'm ageless. I mean, I'm luckily I'm bald, so I don't have as much gray, but I do have gray hair. So I'm looking my well, maybe not 40, but I'm looking. I'm starting to look my age.
What they say about not being able to, being very careful about how an Aes Sedai presents their words. I'm going to start listening to you very carefully from now on, Ryan.
So, but everybody, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to restart the after show for House of the Dragon. So Sunday is the first episode premieres and everything. So originally it was me, Steve, Salty, and Pips, the four of us did it. So now it's just gonna be me and Prophet and maybe my buddy Dread Roberts. Will be the three of us doing it now. So we're gonna be doing a half an hour after the show ends. So cool. Stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about the episode, everything. I still have to catch up. I'm only on the third episode. I haven't watched it since it aired myself. So that and Chillporeal will continue next week. And I really need to make a video. I'm going to try and make a video. Maybe I'll make some shorts based on what guests have said. Maybe I'll
oh God.
Yeah, maybe I'll you or somebody. So, but yeah, everybody, subscribe to the White Cloaks, and if you're new here, if you're listening, consider hitting the bell because you'll get notified of whenever I'm doing Chillporeals. And I talk about a lot of different things. I don't just talk about Wheel of Time and everything.
Hey,
but
Brian, you got Alex back in the chat. You need to corner him. Alex, when are the rewatches starting?
He doesn't know. He probably doesn't know. So.
I'm sure he doesn't.
But after the honeymoon.
But yeah, it's good. So Alex, Whisker Fisherman, good to see you guys. The House of Dragon will be on Sunday, as far as I know. I mean, I know Steve's gonna be late, so hopefully we'll get something going. If we don't, well, I don't know, we'll see. So I'll probably ask around, see who wants to be a guest or something and everything. So who doesn't want to be a guest on a Nerdporeal stream? Exactly.
That's right.
So keep your eye out for that, and maybe I'll make some more video content before I go back to work. And yeah, everybody, take care, and let's see who's going to be on the next episode of Chillporeal next week. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Sleep well and wake.
You as well. Thank you.